Hi, I'm Sabine from 307 Happy Dog in Cody, Wyoming, and I get this question a lot because we have a lot of space here in Wyoming, right? A lot of people have a lot of space, and somehow, if they're dog owners, they wish for their dogs to enjoy that space and have all that freedom. But how do I take control of my dogs so they don't chase deer, they don't chase rabbits, and they don't get chased by a bear or a moose or a cougar? I don't know. There's all kinds of critters out there. And the answer to this question is not an underground electric fence with an e-collar. And I know it sounds tempting, and I know it sounds like a cheap and easy solution to a problem, and it sounds like this amazing magic access from my dogs to all this freedom. But these fences come at a cost, and it's a psychological and oftentimes very physical cost for the dog. And that is the part that owners should be very aware of. And if you start researching these fences and you start asking people in, I don't know, dog owner Facebook groups, how about these electric fences or bark collars, all that stuff, you will find a crowd that will say, oh, they are amazing, it's great, we've never been this happy. But has anyone ever asked their dogs? Of course not, right? And they have the feeling, oh, the dogs are so happy, they're running around. And at a random point, while running around on their property, they get a shock. And then it happens again. And then they're like, oh my God, what was that? Why? Dogs always look for patterns. They try to figure out what causes an aversive. And then, of course, they learn to avoid it. But the point here is, if the wrong thing is in the way, in that moment, then they will make the wrong association. So let's say there's a person, they try to run towards that person and boom, and they get this shock, right? And of course, you will then find these owners that say, we don't shock them, it's just a vibration. Well, it's just a sound. And that is true, and there's warning levels, but if you look at the details of a lot of these fences, they do not have these levels. They either shock or they don't shock. So that's also a matter of price, of course, and technology, right? But the point here is, why would I do this to my dog? I don't understand that. And I know a lot of people will say, yeah, but, and we cannot fence the whole acreage, and I want them to use all this. Well, then just fence a small part, and then go on a walk, take a long line. Go supervised. Practice a very solid recall. And don't go from a 0 to 100. Do the work. Build the relationship. And then also, your dog likes to be with you. So it's not that they always think to miss out if they don't get to run outside. Yes, you want to have them stretch their legs and run and get good exercise, but you can do that together. And you can start on a long leash. And you can maybe keep it on that long leash if your dog has a strong prey drive, for example. And see, there's another point with these electric fences. If the prey drive is too strong and the dog busts through that fence line, the invisible one, then they can't come back because they get a shock every time they come back. Do you really want to do that to your dog? Just think about it. Think about it. Dogs want to feel safe, and everything they do is based on that, okay? That does not feel very safe. And a lot of these fences also allow you to change the parameters. So let's say you have this big property, and then next year you are building a house because grandma's moving in, yeah? So now you don't want the dog to go to where the construction takes place, or where the new house is, because you sell that part of your property and your dog is not supposed to be there anymore. Well, boom, you're now changing the parameters, and it gets all random again. Very unsafe feeling for animals. And in my humble opinion, and I have to tell myself that is me, and all I can do, I cannot make anyone do anything, right? All I can control is what I do about it. And I try to inform and educate, and I really, really, really try to encourage my clients to not get these fences or bark collars or any so-called training collars. They are not invisible leashes. I just heard a big thread about that. They're not. The invisible leash between you and your dog is actually your relationship, and you can build that, and you don't need to scare them and make them be all suspicious and get very nervous. And of course, depending on what kind of personality your dog is, how sensitive they are, they do better or worse with these collars. But I argue that they shouldn't have to wear these things at all. 0 times of 100%. If you have a dog and you have property, fence off an area, a smaller area, not the whole property. I'm aware that that is expensive. But honestly, if you buy a good e-collar, that's expensive too. So invest that money in solid fencing, and also invest your time in spending it with your dog, playing, running, and enrichment activities. And you don't need that collar. I stand for that 100%.